Dear Malaysians, we need to be worried. Very worried about the federal government debt. When Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim was the finance minister and deputy prime minister, our federal government debt was 112 billion ringgit. Today, less than 20 years later after he was sacked, our federal government debt has increased to 687 billion ringgit, or more than 6 times on the head of every Malaysian from the moment they are born. That's 22,000 ringgit debt on their head. Every family of 5 will be carrying debts of 110,000 ringgit. This is the direct result of hundreds of billions of ringgit of corruption, abuse and wasteful expenditure by the BN government over the past 2 decades. It is no wonder Najib tells you today, GST saved Malaysia.
GST adalah penyelamat kepada rakyat Malaysia.
Najib now needs to tax Malaysians more than 42 billion ringgit in GST in order to help service the debts. Worse, the 687 billion of federal government debt is just the official figure they tell you. Barisan Nasional has been hiding the true debt levels of the government. Let me give you an example. MRT. It is a 50 billion ringgit project. It is a federal government project. But if you look at the official budget tabled by Najib over the last 5 years, there's not a single cent of this 50 billion budget found in the official federal government expenditure. How can? How did they do it? Very simple. What the federal government did was to create a subsidiary by the name of MRT Corp. The federal government then provides a guarantee for MRT Corp 50 billion ringgit loan, and MRT is then able to borrow this huge sum of money. Irony is, it is basically guaranteed by the federal government. It is an expense by a federal government subsidiary, but it is not part of the federal government debt. And MRT is not the only example. We have LRT, we have airports, we have many other billions of projects which are covered under federal government guarantee. Today, federal government guarantee has increased shockingly to 227 billion ringgit. Just 5 years ago, the figure was only 155 billion ringgit. It is to give the impression that our federal government debt is still under control. I have more bad news. The above doesn't even take into consideration all the secret letters of guarantees which ministers have issued to finance dubious projects. For example, remember the PKMZ 12.5 billion ringgit scandal? That was a result of a 2.5 billion ringgit letter of support issued by the then transport ministers. What else? We have Datuk Sri Najib Razak himself as the Minister of Finance signing 2 secret letters of support to help 1MDB borrow up to $4 billion or 16 billion ringgit. The question Malaysians have now is, how many more of these secret letters of support have ministers issued which will burden Malaysians in the years to come? The best thing is, all of the above that I've mentioned doesn't yet include all the debts arising from Najib's scandalous companies such as 1MDB, which has incurred more than 40 billion ringgit of debt. Enough! Pakatan Harapan is determined to stop the bleeding debts by cutting wastage and stopping corruption. We don't need GST to run this government. Instead, with a clean government, we can do much more with much less.